continue with the conversation around the legal fraternity. The Legal Practice Fidelity Fund has revealed that over 500 cases of suspected fraud involving lawyers are yet to go before the courts. This is over the theft of almost 1.5 billion rand of trust funds. The organization Undoing Tax Abuse Accountability Division Executive Director Stefanie Fick joining us now to discuss this. Advocate Fick, good evening to you and thank you for your time. I'll ask a question that I asked Mr. Mpofu, who was here just a short while ago, and it's to do with whether or not the legal profession is in crisis. 1.5 billion rand in trust funds stolen, allegedly, by lawyers. What do you make of that?
It's an enormous amount of money. I sometimes think we talk about millions and billions as if it's rands and cents. That is an enormous amount of money, especially if you think that this is, supposed to be a profession that should look after law and order. But yeah, that is an enormous amount of money. And I wonder how many people has been prosecuted yet and has been held accountable.
Yeah.
And that is a crisis in a profession.
Well, a profession like this one requires that lawyers be held in high esteem, particularly by members of the public, because these are the people that we depend on to defend us in times of crisis. What is there to be said about the integrity of the profession, and add to that the organization, or at least the body that is meant to look at the conduct and hold those who are thieving to account, the Legal Practice Council? Are they doing their jobs?
So the integrity of a profession is important, and I think the integrity of, for example, officers of the court is extremely important. A court relies heavily on, for example, advocates and prosecutors in order to do their job properly. And if you hear allegations like this, I do think it does something to the integrity. You can never say it's everybody, but just one or two complaints can create this thinking that the profession is there's problems with their integrity. And then you have the Legal Practice Council, who is supposed to, they are the guardians of what we should be considering, what is professional behavior, etc., etc. And are they doing their job? Now, I think it's very unfair to sit here and criticize without them, also answering to some of these questions. And I can tell you, they will probably say something that to the effect that they probably do not have the resources that they are supposed to have. They are funded by the profession. Quite recently, advocates and attorneys now fall under the Legal Practice Council, and one just wonders whether they do have enough resources to go after. I think you've mentioned 14,000 complaints. One has to imagine that some of those complaints are frivolous. You will get clients that's difficult and do not understand why they have to pay so much money. But I do think, and from our experience, is that you sometimes get the impression that you lay complaints and then nothing happens, whether it is a communication problem or whether it is just that they can't get to it. But I do think it is important that a watchdog like the LPC do what they need to do. The profession of, I want to say again, very proud to be part of the legal profession. And some of us are just, want to defend our clients. The rule of law is very important. There's certain decorum in a court, and that you are an officer of court. And that some of these, fraught apples damages the reputation, but they play a critical role in society. And it's not just these funds that one is worried about. You hear more and more attorneys that is instructed by SOEs, and that is taxpayers' money, where an enormous amount of money gets lost to, instructing attorneys, wasting money, etc., etc.
I wanted to desperately avoid using this case, Advocate Fick, but yes, on the one hand, monies belonging to the state, and those are our monies as taxpayers. They are plundered in the most outrageous of ways. But then you get to cases where children who were born disabled, physically challenged, not of their own doing, but because someone did something wrong at a hospital, and a lawyer goes and pretends to fight on behalf of that family only for them to take those monies for themselves. That is the kind of human being we're dealing with here in some of these cases. Where do you start restoring trust just from ordinary members of the public?
Holding them to account. I think that we've been failed not only by, for example, the LPC, but also, the NPA, the National Prosecuting Authority, because a person like that, it is, I don't think I have enough words to explain, what this type of person is. But this person should not practice as either an advocate or an attorney. This person should be struck off the roll, firstly, and then secondly, should be prosecuted, and if found guilty, should be sentenced appropriately to send a message. On the one hand, like we've said, this is, I think, a very honorable profession, but you get these types of individuals that are just do so much damage to the integrity of a profession that should be, I think children should say, I want to become a lawyer. Human rights. There's so many good fights that needs to be fought by, attorneys and advocates doing the right thing. But in instances like that, I think what we haven't seen is accountability. And it's the same with corruption. Yeah. Talking about corrupt behavior, et cetera, that we haven't seen the accountability we are supposed to see.
Finally, Advocate Fick, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, Mamoloko Kubai, acknowledging these statistics, in fact, her office saying that they take them with the utmost seriousness. But the question is, what can they do about it? What are they going to do about it? There's a quote from the department's spokesperson who says, "We want to assure the public that decisive steps are being taken to strengthen accountability and restore trust." You believe that the ministry is up to it? I mean, there have been so many issues going wrong with the justice, or should I say the criminal justice system in the country. There's so many issues that they are dealing with. Do you think that they can also focus their energies enough on this one?
Sure. When it comes to politicians and promises, I'm sometimes a bit of a pessimist, because you need to look at their track records. Yeah. I think the change in our criminal justice system, we do need political will to change it. So to say that we will do it without politicians is probably not the correct answer, but we need the political will to change it. I've been to the Joburg court recently, and I was shocked. People go there on a daily basis, go to our match courts on a daily basis to find, hopefully people being held accountable for, crime. We have a high crime rate, and have we seen the accountability we want? And I think the answer is no. On the positive side, one has to hope that they can turn this ship around, and making sure that not only we do something about criminality on our streets, but also about prosecuting, the normal offenses every day, doing something about the corruption in our country, because we really need accountability for those types of crimes. We have the construction mafia. We have so many problems that you really need a focused attempt to sort these problems out. And I can only hope that those words will carry us through and that we will see the positive change we desperately need in our criminal justice system.
Advocate Stefanie Fick, thank you very much for your time tonight. She is with the organization OUTA, an accountability division executive director there within OUTA. Thanks indeed for your time.